When the pandemic happened, pretty much every single country went into a lockdown and we all stayed in for the longest period of time possible. But thanks to the time that we are living in, we get to escape through virtual world, which we really did through like TikTok and so on. And personally, I chose my escape through virtual reality. Instead of spending too much of money, I decided to purchase an Oculus Rift S, which you can see right here. And at that point of time, it was the most affordable one I could find. And after using it for a lot of gaming and even entertainment, here's what we think if this is actually a good time to jump into the world of virtual reality. So let's not waste any time and get right into it. And you're watching The Adventures of Vesper. Let's begin. Now, VR in general has come a long way really. From being an early adopter of a device to slowly moving into the mainstream market, it has been a slow progress, but you can really see the improvements. So many brands right now are out there, and some of the brands we know are mainly like Oculus, HTC Vive, Valve. Being so much of a big player in the virtual reality segment, they have definitely upped the ante for VR content consumption in more ways than one. Games, socializing, and entertainment. If you look at the VR market share as of right now, like people who own a VR headset on Steam survey, the numbers are very small. To a point you can call it an elitist kind of group, but is indeed growing thanks to more affordable VR headsets popping up in the market from the same brands. Now let me share why I went with the Oculus Rift S. Most of my virtual reality experience have been on smartphones like the Samsung Gear VR and at launches where we get to play with them for a very brief moment. And most of these VR headsets that we play at events, to put it simply, are just dead expensive. Like it cost about 5,000 to 6,000 ringgit to just set it up and get it up and running. So I wanted something that fits my budget, and so I found the Oculus Rift S for about close to I think 2,000 ringgit, which is a price I was comfortable paying at that point. Secondly, I didn't want a VR headset that limits me from using other services. Like Oculus in itself, their service, it's actually pretty good, but it doesn't let you do things beyond that. And if you know, Steam has an amazing VR game collection, and this headset just so happens to support Steam right out of the box. So that's all that mattered. And finally, I wanted something that's actually portable. So if I want to carry my laptop with me out to a friend's place, and if you want to kick back and play some VR games all together, like a party mode of sorts, it's actually pretty portable. And also why I didn't opt in for the Oculus Quest is because of its internal memory and all those unnecessary shenanigans, which I didn't really want to go through. So I just wanted a headset, and that's about it. Now, the Oculus Rift S, unlike other VR headsets that you see in the market, right, this is a satellite-free option, and there are others too. Now, the moment when you hear VR headset, we all know that they are complicated to set up, too much work and all that, right? But not anymore, because the VR headsets has evolved into two specific types. We have the all-in-one, or if you want to call it the light VR headset, that's also fine. And then we also have the Pro VR headset. Now, these aren't terms like coined by the VR community or anything, but I just like to call it that way. Now, starting off with the all-in-one VR headset, or light VR headset, if you want to call it like this one. These are like simple and easy to set up VR headsets that are user-friendly from the get-go. Like anybody can do it, and like how Oculus Quest has built in everything, and all you need to do is just wear it, turn it on, and play with it. The Oculus Rift S doesn't have a native system like the Quest does, but instead it works like how a PlayStation VR does, where you need to connect it to a system, and then which will be the host, and the required software will get you up and running in no time. These VR headsets actually have built-in IR sensors and cameras to do the tracking and map your room. Now, the thing about like IR sensors and even camera for that matter, like the accuracy isn't quite there yet. Like it isn't like 100% accurate, but they are in fact very well designed, and thanks to the algorithm and software that they use, right, they actually map things in a very smart manner that will make you wonder if you really need satellite-based tracking. Like it's good, it's really good. Now, the Pro kind on the other hand is where you really crank it up a notch and have the best possible experience, or where you want to get very serious with virtual reality. with all that precise tracking and mapping, and also comes with tons of accessory for you to assemble in order to make it work, like the satellites to track you and so on. Okay, since most of my experience revolves around the Rift S, I'm going to talk about my experience with the Rift S instead. Okay, so Oculus Rift, the Oculus OS, it's okay. For starters, like Oculus built-in OS is neat and guides you on how to set up and experience your virtual reality safely. And also that first clip when you set it up, the whole immersiveness, that's actually pretty cool of a clip where you get to interact with a bunch of stuff and so on. But otherwise, I'd say the OS on its own, it's pretty limited when it comes to content. You do have a store that allows you to purchase any kind of applications or games for free or a good sum of money. But remember, most of them are paid. And until right now, I don't think I've seen anything cheap or any sort of discount on any title. So if you were to stop at Oculus' own OS, that's about it. But once you enable the option in the settings to let other applications on your PC to support VR, well then, that's when things get very exciting. And so I personally use Steam for this, and the Steam experience is phenomenal. The moment your VR kicks in and launches SteamVR, you are out of the Oculus world and entering into Steam's world, where you can set up your own home space to your favorite games and so on, and even have party rooms with other friends. And these party rooms can look like any kind of game environments that you want, and these party rooms are with your other VR friends. Now, the games, on the other hand, which are exact titles that you would find in an Oculus store, but now it's a lot more affordable thanks to the occasional sales, and with some exceptional titles like Beat Saber that never sees a sale at all. But that's it. We purchased a bunch of games, and some of the games we want to list are like Beat Saber being the first game I purchased, then followed by Half-Life Alyx, Project Cars, Super Hard VR, Synth Riders, and Thumper. Now, the moment when you notice all these game titles, right, you would realize that majority of them are rhythm-based games, and these games are extremely popular on VR for the immersiveness. And if you think about it, if you can wield a lightsaber within a game, that's pretty cool, right? And for the most part, it actually ended up giving me some good experience. So much so to a point, during a pandemic, it was my workout machine that motivated me to sweat it off and do some ducking, sliding, swinging hands all around, and feeling that soreness the very next day to some really good beat for the music, and even immersing myself in a post-apocalyptic world like in Half-Life Alyx. Now, I did want to try games like you would play on a normal monitor, and this is where again I will have to say Half-Life Alyx did not disappoint me at all, because Half-Life Alyx sets a very good benchmark as to how far VR games have come. And while it is risky for them to execute it because they need to take a leap of faith for making this kind of experience happen, but this is the kind of motivation we need in the VR space, because now you can see a lot of other game titles are making over to VR, including one of the most popular pandemic favorite game, Among Us, which is now heading into VR very soon later this year. Now you have a whole new world to immerse yourself in, and say if gaming isn't even your thing, right? That's fine, because if you're purely in it for the entertainment, that's amazing as well. Because Oculus even have applications where you can watch a movie as if you're watching it on a big screen, along with every other VR users in a virtual theater. This is just one of the handful experiences that I got to try with my personal virtual reality headset, and it was pretty fun. There's also another application a friend of mine recommended, so a huge shout out to Adam for recommending this. Museum of Other Realities. It actually takes art and brings to life in VR. There are even some great educational apps that you can, be interactive at, and I think this is pretty great as well. All in all, it's a slowly but surely situation, because whatever I said so far, I truly mean it. Like the experience I started off with the Oculus Rift S, it was pretty scary because I was getting into the world of VR thinking that it might be a really bad money spent kind of situation. But after using it for close to a year and more, it's miles better compared to those cheap cardboard boxes that we used to use with our phones, or even the Samsung Gear VR, which was a nice experience, but a limiting one at that. getting a dedicated virtual reality headset like the Quest, or even hooking up to the system like this Oculus Rift S, is a completely whole new avenue. I would say that the content I've seen so far are definitely within a certain number, like you can count how many content there is for VR, but it's actually growing slowly because VR contents are pretty much harder to produce. And if at all, the pandemic taught us one thing, that the moment everybody went into lockdown, production of games really took a huge hit. And case in point, we have games like Cyberpunk that had very bad graphics out from the studio. They went through a lot of issues. Then we saw other games that went into like serious delays and so on. And also VR developers need to factor in important health conditions like motion sickness and so much more. It's being addressed as well, because again, I'm going to use Half-Life as an example, because you can change the movement based on the plethora of options the game offered. Now, say for instance, if you're completely new to VR, you want to have a VR headset, you want to experience, but you don't know where to start, I believe no one should fork out too much money on the VR for the first time. Like, I'm talking about 5,000 to 6,000, because you don't know if you're going to put it for good use. And I'm glad right now affordable options exist. In that case, right, if you're someone who's actually like, in the market, wants to give virtual reality a shot, then get an all-in-one VR headset like the Oculus Rift S. This one is actually discontinued, by the way, so you really have to hunt in order to get your hands on an Oculus Rift S, because I think this is a very good headset personally. Or you can even go for the Oculus Quest 2 or Meta Quest 2, that's what they want to call it, but yeah, which is easier to set up, and it's a whole lot more like user-friendly. You have all the internal storage, so everything that's loaded in here is loaded in here. You don't need to connect to anything, so you're wireless. And even if you want to connect it to your PC, you can always get an extra cable, the USB Type-C cable, and hook it up to your PC, which gives you kind of a glimpse into what the VR world has to offer and show you how immersive it can be. Sure, it does come with like certain limitations, like the tracking is about 90 to 95% accurate, at least it's still accurate, or in the software department, but personally I truly enjoyed it a lot. Again, I have to say the Oculus Rift S that I purchased was the best purchase that I did for the pandemic, because it was an absolute relief as I could play some amazing titles. Now, if you've experienced like VR before, like more so than ever, then I'm sure you're ready to commit to a full-fledged virtual reality headset. But even then, it's okay to stick with an all-in-one headset to keep your setup simple and neat. Right now, I'm actually pretty tempted to get a full-fledged system and set it up in my room and have a great time with VR. So that's all I have to say. And again, huge thanks to my wallet for making this happen, because we purchased the Oculus Rift S and made this content happen, because a lot of friends asked me if I should buy a virtual reality headset, and I'm sure a bunch of you viewers might be wondering if you should get into the world of virtual reality. So that's why we wanted to make this content. And again, this content happens because of your support. So make sure to buy me a coffee in the link in the description below, and I will catch you guys in other awesome content like this one. Until then, this is Prithviraj signing off. Take care, and I'll see you guys real soon. Bye.